Cat Book for Kids, Diary of a Wimpy Cat, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Casper and Isabel are a cat couple. They have been dating for several months and seem to be happy, but they're not. The more Casper finds out about his girlfriend's manipulative side, the more he understands he needs to break away from this relationship as fast as possible. Isabel wants a certain kind of rocks to decorate her little home, but she asks Casper impossible things in order to get them. Will Casper give in and give her what she wants, or will he stand up for what is right and draw the line? Hurry up and listen to what these two cats are up to. Chapter 1. Compassion. I am writing a diary to show everyone what happened between my girlfriend and I. She had a way of bending the truth, but I trust that the ones who read this go with their instincts and don't fall for her awful lies. I am Casper, and I am a cat. My girlfriend's name just happened to start with a J as well. Perfect, right? We were the perfect couple, or so it appeared to everyone else. Other cats in the alleys were a little jealous of us. We always walked around together and didn't leave each other often. At first, all seemed right. Isabel was a fun, exciting, and adventurous cat. She would take me to streets I had never been to and would sneak into yards with me where there were dogs, only to be chased by them and run for our lives afterwards. Then we would shut the gate to the fence and feel relieved, laughing loudly and sensing the adrenaline rush through our bodies. It was always new and surprising, which I thought was a good thing. But Isabel became more demanding. She asked me several times to steal some fish from the docks where the laborers were hauling in the nets and crates. I always refused, but she had a way of being pushy without having the appearance of being the bad person. Our relationship wasn't what I hoped it would be. Trust, loyalty, and honesty were not the characteristics that typified it. "Hey, lovely kitty," she said one day. "I came up with this thing, and don't ask me where I got it, but I just did, and I would love for you to get it for me." "Okay," I said. "I am listening. What is it?" "I want you to get a few rocks of emerald ore, which are decorative mineral rocks." "What do you need those for?" I wanted to know. "What does it matter?" she said with a smile as she turned the other way. "Well, I know those rocks are not easy to get, so I want to know what I am doing it for." "Just decorations," she said. "You've seen my home. It's a dump. I live in an alley with 5 other cats, and I just want to stand out. I want to show them that my home can look beautiful." "So you want to make them jealous?" I asked. "Not really. I just thought—" Then the crying began. "I just thought it wouldn't be too much to ask after my mother died." I was dumbfounded. I had never even heard her talk about her mother anymore. I wanted to know more about this sudden disappearance of a family member in her life. "Your mother?" I asked. "I thought you didn't even know who your mother was." "Are you saying that I am lying?" she asked angrily. No, it's just you've never mentioned her before," I assured her. "I did," she said. "I guess you forgot, but that's okay. Anyway, she died 2 days ago. I just didn't say anything because I was so upset. I was heartbroken. I couldn't talk about it." She cried again. I came closer and put my paw around her. "It's okay," I said. "She's in a better place." She looked at me and yelled, "It's not okay. How can you say that? My mother just died, and now I have nothing to comfort me." Seeing the emotional state she was in, I didn't have the guts to say, "You have me, don't you?" I didn't. I kept my mouth shut because before I knew it, she gave me the ultimate solution to her problem. "The only thing that will make me feel better," she began, "is those emerald rocks. If you could just go get them for me, I would be happy." And there it was. This is what I had to do. Find the emerald rocks. Chapter 2. Guilty Feelings. So that's where my adventure started, searching for a few stupid emerald rocks to comfort my girlfriend because her mother had died, or so she said. I found the whole story a little sketchy, but I wasn't going to talk back to her. How could I? I went to my friends, some of the other cats in the back alleys of the village. When I arrived in their street, they noticed I was a little worried. "What's going on?" they asked. "Isabel wants emerald ore rocks or something," I said. "I don't know where to get them. Do you have any ideas?" "Oh, you don't want to get those," one of the cats, whose name was Oreo, said. "Why? Are they dangerous?" "Ha ha! Not the rocks themselves. No, emerald rocks are completely harmless. It's not like they're poisonous or something." "Then what's the problem?" I inquired. "Monsters," was the answer. "What do you mean?" I asked. "I've never really left this town. What are you talking about?" "Do you know what lies beyond that mountain over there?" the Oreo asked. "Like I said, I've never left town." "When you go past that mountain," he continued, "you enter the Green Valley, and that's where it's swarming with the green explosive monsters." "How many?" I asked. "No idea. Dozens, maybe hundreds. I wouldn't go there if I were you. Tell your girlfriend she needs to have a back alley home without those decorative rocks." I got a little concerned. I thanked Oreo for his good advice and returned to my own street. That's where I saw Isabel again. She was chasing a mouse. "I can't get the emerald block for you," I said. "I'm sorry. It's too dangerous." "Why?" she asked. "The rocks are located in the green hills beyond the mountain, and one of my friends, Oreo, says that there are lots of monsters there. I don't want to explode into bits. It's just not worth it." "Are you saying that I am not worth it?" she asked. "Do you not consider me worthy?" "No, that's not what I am saying," I said. "Oh, okay, so you don't want to risk anything to make me happy, is that it?" "No, that's not it either." Then she squinted her eyes and said, "I know what it is. You're afraid. You're just a scared little kitten. You don't have the slightest bit of courage. That's it, isn't it?" I sighed. I didn't have anything to say against that. I guessed she was right. Maybe I was just being a wimp, and this was the time to show what I was made of. I looked at her and looked at the mountain in the background. "Fine," I said. "I'll go. I will try to get you some of those emerald rocks." "Yay!" she said, and she started purring. "Go get them, tiger!" I left, distraught and confused as of what to do to get those rocks. I didn't want to die, but I didn't want to disappoint her either. I left town for the first time and looked back at the peaceful village, secluded and away from the dangers beyond the said mountain. After an hour of walking, I came to the other side. It was quite the climb, but I managed to get myself over there. Then I looked and could hardly believe my eyes. I saw beautiful rolling hills. They were green and brown, depending on whether there was grass or just sand. But between those lovely blades of grass were creatures roaming the earth. They were green monsters, and I knew they could come running at me if they noticed me, charged with electrical energy and ready to explode in my face. Not exactly the way I wanted to die, 9 lives or not. Then I saw something I wanted more than anything. Well, I didn't want it, but I knew Isabel wanted it, so I wanted it so I could give her what she wanted. Does that make sense? I saw the emerald rocks. They were scattered across the field. What a strange phenomenon. I wondered how they ended up there in the first place. Maybe some weird erosion or other archaeological process the rocks had been going through in history. I had to have one, at least one. I knew she asked for more, but one would be enough to show my courage, which she had expressed her doubts about. So I snuck into the field, hiding behind a tree occasionally. I was a cat, so if I wanted to climb the tree, it would help me escape those evil monsters as a last resort. I came closer and closer. I had almost reached the emerald block, and I knew I could just pick it up and transport it. The explosive monsters were calm. They hadn't noticed me yet. I was about to grab the emerald block, but then one of them saw me. "Yeah!" it screamed, coming at me with great speed. I jumped aside and watched the green monster explode into a rock. This alerted the others. I watched in fear for a second or two, while more than 50 monsters looked at me and started moving towards me as fast as they could. "Meow," I said as I picked up the emerald ore and transported it on my back. The monsters were chasing me. I couldn't outrun them for much longer, so I climbed the tree all the way to the top. It didn't help me, though, because some of the monsters ran into the tree and made it explode. Because of that, I held on for life while the tree fell over and made me fall to the ground. Luckily, I landed on my feet, but the emerald block was destroyed. No, I yelled. Monsters were still coming from everywhere. It would be unwise to take my chances here any longer. I had to leave without my desired treasure. It was a disappointment, but my life was in danger. I knew better than to stick around while dozens of green monsters were running towards me. I ran, faster than before because of the emerald block I had to leave behind, the emerald block that had been blown into 1,000 pieces. I climbed the wall and ran around the mountain without looking back. When I stopped to catch my breath, I glanced around me and noticed that they didn't follow me. Apparently, they couldn't climb, so the fact that I could had saved my life. Now to bring my sweetie the bad news, I mumbled. I wasn't looking forward to it. I arrived at the village and went straight to what she called her home. I knocked on one of the wooden boards leaning next to it and asked if she was there. She came out and saw me without the emerald ore. Her facial expression changed instantly from curious to furious. "Where is the emerald block?" she demanded to know. "Well, you see, I had it, but then the tree exploded and the monsters were after me." "And you didn't even go back to get another one? What kind of a coward are you?" At first, I tried to answer her question, but then it sunk into my brain that it was just a rhetorical question and that she didn't want an answer. She continued her raging lecture. "You don't care about me, do you? You don't care if I am happy? I already lost my mother, and now I can't even live in a pretty home. I have nothing, and you don't even grant me the simple pleasure of an emerald block. Just one emerald block. How can that be so hard? I'm not happy, and it's all your fault. Now go and leave me alone." Well, that could have gone better. I left her and felt miserable. I had failed, blaming myself. Chapter 3. Seduction. Her next strategy to get what she wanted, and I didn't realize it until way later that this was so manipulative as well, was to seduce me. She knew I was a sucker for fish, and she also knew exactly how to touch my weak spot. I mean, what is a cat going to do when he is confronted with some of the best food in the world? I didn't know where she got it, and later I just thought she had stolen it. But she brought it over and put it in front of me. It was a big bass from the river, and it smelled delicious. "Here," she said when she came to the alley I was hanging out with the other cats. I saw the bass. The smells were tempting, and I wanted to eat it so badly, but I knew there was a catch. Not a fish as a catch, but a trick to make me do something. I had been around her for a while now, and I knew she wanted something from me. "If you want the fish, you will have to get that emerald block for me," she said. "I know you can do it, and the fish will be your reward. I am even willing to let you eat it before you go, as a sign of trust." I looked at her and sighed. "You're offering me food and asking death in return," I said. "I already told you that I won't go back to that creepy valley with the green monsters. It's simply too dangerous, and it's just a stupid emerald block. Who cares?" "But it's nice and yummy," she said again, shoving the fish a little closer to me. "Come on, you know you want it. A handsome cat like you could use a good meal. What do you say, big boy? Want to eat the fish?" She was licking her lips while saying it to me, trying to sound as appealing and seductive as she could. I knew that this was my one weakness: fish. I glanced at the bass. I almost started drooling, but I didn't give in. "No is no," I said firmly. "Quit bothering me with your request." She blew off some steam. She was furious again. She didn't get her way, and she couldn't take it. "Fine," she finally said. She picked up the fish and walked away. I felt better, even though my stomach was growling. The fact that I put my paw down was a victory to me. I had been such a pushover lately, and tried to please this sly cat so many times that I was actually a little surprised that I had it in me. The other cats in the alley were staring at me. They had been following the entire process from the moment she brought in the delicious bass. But they were smiling. They were proud of me. Some of them were nodding, and others were holding up their paws to show their respect. "Way to go, buddy," one of the cats said. "Show her who is boss," another said. It made me think. I didn't want to be bossy or dominant, but I had to draw the line somewhere. Putting my life down the line for an ornament or a pretty green block just wasn't going to cut it. But she wasn't done. She had another plan. Chapter 4. Victim. The next day, another drama was going on. I didn't know what really happened until I talked to the other cats in the alley. When I arrived, it was already too late. The fight was there. I came into the alley after the usual night's rest, still rubbing my eyes and yawning. It was early, and I wasn't in the mood for anything weird. But my relationship was going to be another pain in the tail. They were hissing at each other and scratching each other's fur, my girlfriend and Oreo. I didn't want to take sides because Oreo was my friend. I loved Isabel, but I arrived at the scene after it had already started, so I couldn't figure out by their testimonies which of them had begun. Oreo whacked her to the ground and she screeched loudly, "Wow!" Then Oreo walked away and gave me a stern look as to tell me to get rid of her. I was shocked. I had never seen Oreo this angry before. I went to Isabel and helped her up. "Ouch! Ow, ow, ow! It hurts so much," she said. "Look, he scratched me up on this side, and over here it's bleeding." "Yes, it doesn't look good," I said. "But it doesn't look that bad either." "Are you kidding?" she asked. "I am hurting all over. You don't know how I feel." Okay, I said, rolling my eyes when she wasn't looking. "Oh, it hurts, she said again. I was really getting tired of her little show. I empathized with her, but there was nothing I could do about it. Or was there? When she was done complaining, she looked me in the eyes and asked, "I feel terrible. Could you please cheer me up? You love me, don't you?" Yes, I do. What would you like me to do?" "Please just get the emerald ore block for me. I am only asking for one little block to decorate my home. It would make me feel a lot better. Please, pretty, please." There we went again. I didn't know how many times I had to say it. No means no, doesn't it? I almost gave in. I saw that she was bleeding and that she was hurt. I really felt for her, but I still didn't think getting an emerald block would solve the problem. It would make her happy for a little while, and then the drama would start all over again. Besides, how much would she enjoy life if I would be dead because of some monster? At that moment, I started to doubt if she even cared about me. She saw right through me. It was scary, as if she could read my thoughts or something, because at that moment she asked, "You know I care about you, don't you? I wouldn't send you out there if I didn't believe that you could do it. You are so brave. I am convinced that you can get me one of those rocks. Out of all cats, I admire you the most." "I know," I said, "but I just don't think it's worth the risk." "But it's not that dangerous," she said. "Yes, it is. I am done talking about it." She began to cry, but my patience was gone. I patted her on the back and left the alley, after which I saw Oreo standing there, right in front of me. He didn't look pleased to see me, and he was about to tell me why. "What just happened over there?" I asked. "You scratched her up a lot. She's got wounds on both sides of her tail and on her belly." "Don't just believe everything you see," Oreo said. "She did that to herself. I don't know why. Maybe just to convince you that she was pitiful, so that you would feel for her and get her the emerald ore. Or maybe so she could turn you against me." "Wait, what? She injured herself? Why would she do that?" "Like I said, I don't know. But she attacked me first when she saw that you were coming. You better be careful with that girl. I don't trust her." "How do I know you're speaking the truth?" I asked. "Come on, you know me. The question is, how well do you know her? Anyway, I have to go." As soon as he left, Isabel was standing behind me. "Why were you talking to him?" she asked. "No reason. He was talking to me." "Well, don't believe what he said. He attacked me first." "He says you attacked him," I insisted. "Are you saying that I'm lying?" she asked. "Because if that's the case, we might as well break up right now. If we want this relationship to work, you'll have to trust me." I just told her what she wanted to hear, and I am glad I was so good at hiding it. "I trust you. Oreo is probably lying," I said. "I think you should break all contact with him. He is trying to turn you against me. I don't know why. Maybe he's jealous. You shouldn't see him anymore." Sounds about right, I said, but inside, I secretly believed Oreo was right. Chapter 5. The Bribe. The next day she had a different strategy. I guess I should have given her some points for being so determined, and maybe one for creativity. To this day, I still don't understand what was so special about those emerald rocks. I didn't even think they looked that pretty. But perhaps it was just a game to her. Perhaps she was just trying to see if she could win, if she could convince me to do anything for her. The night had been hard. I didn't sleep very well, since the rainy weather only allows alley cats to find shelter in a limited number of places. I had been sleeping under a box, and it had been leaking a little bit. Isabel came to me with a serious face. I was still waking up, but what she said woke me up faster. "I know where to get an emerald block," she said. "What? Where?" "One of the other cats has one. He is willing to trade it with me." "Wow, that's good news." I was happy to finally get this whole ordeal over with and get her the stupid emerald block she had been begging me for. So I wanted to know immediately what we could trade it for. "I have a golden pickaxe," she said. "What? Where did you get one of those? That's a rare item." "I received it from a man in a rich house. He was very generous." "Really? Interesting." "See," she said, while showing me the pickaxe in her little cat house. "You're right, that's amazing," I said. "Maybe I should go beg at some rich people's houses as well." "Yes, it was really strange. All I did was meowing a little, and then the guy opened the door and gave me this golden pickaxe." "That's weird." "I know, right? But that's exactly what happened." "Okay, well, I don't care how we got it. We can go and trade it for the emerald block, I guess." "Okay, let's go." Chapter 6. No Thanks. We went to the cats she had mentioned. He was a cat with an owner. His name was Delphi, and he lived in a fancy home with enough food to take care of him for the rest of his life. That's what I noticed, at least, and it became even more apparent when I saw how fat he was. "How's it going?" Delphi asked. "Relatively good," I said. "My girlfriend here says you have an emerald block, and that you're willing to trade it for a golden pickaxe." "That's correct," the fat cat said. "Here it is," Isabel said, while shoving the pickaxe forward. "Can I have the emerald block now?" "Hold on a minute," Delphi said. "Let me check if this is real." He looked at the pickaxe thoroughly. He turned it around and moved it to each side, sniffing it and touching it. Then he raised his eyebrows. "Oh," he said. "What? What is it?" I asked. "This golden pickaxe belongs to Mr. Gold," he said. "So? Why does that matter?" "Mr. Gold collects gold. I don't know if he had that last name to begin with or if he changed his name into Mr. Gold, but he is obsessed with the stuff. See? It has his initials. Everyone in the neighborhood here knows about him. Would you mind explaining me how you got this pickaxe?" Isabel looked the other way. She didn't feel like answering that question, so I did it for her. She said that he gave it to her, so maybe he was just in a good mood. Delphi laughed. "Ha ha ha! That's the biggest nonsense I have ever heard. Mr. Gold isn't generous. He never gives anything away. Why do you think he is so rich? The only way I could see you ending up with this item is if you stole it. Did you steal it?" "No," Isabel said, while fidgeting with her paws. "You have to get better at lying, kitty. I can smell trouble from miles away, and this golden pickaxe is trouble. I am not going to be involved in this. Get yourself another cat who isn't afraid of Mr. Gold." "This is ridiculous," Isabel said. "Don't accuse me of stealing. How dare you? Come on, Casper. You know I don't steal." "Actually, sometimes you do," I said. "You've tried to convince me to steal fish with you so many times that I don't know what to think anymore." She was offended, but she didn't know what to say to that, so she walked away. Chapter 7. We're done. The other cats were there in the alley, and I was talking to them. They heard all about the lies. They heard all about the theft, the lies, and the manipulation. "You have to ditch that girl, Casper," Oreo said. Yeah, she has been nothing but trouble, one of my other friends said. I have to admit that there has been some friction between us, I admitted. But I have been with her for quite a while. I don't want to break up with her. It's necessary, Oreo said. She's been lying to you, turning you against your friends, and stealing from people. She's a dirty cat. Well, she cleans herself regularly, I said. I always see her licking her paws and stuff. I mean dirty in the sense of dirty little liar, Oreo explained. What would her mother say if she heard all this stuff she's been doing? I corrected him. Newsflash, Oreo. Her mother is dead. She died not too long ago. He looked astonished and leaned backwards. Is that what she told you? He asked. Of course. Why would she not tell me about her mother's death? He sighed. That's another lie. Her mother lives 5 rocks away from here. Do you want me to show you? I couldn't believe my pointy cat ears. She must have told me that just to make me feel sorry for her and get her the emerald block. My patience was gone. I had had it with Isabel. Suddenly, I didn't care how much I had loved her in the past. No, you don't have to show me, I said after a few seconds. I think I believe you anyway. I know what I have to do. Determined to get a better life by ending this thing we had, whether you can call it a loving relationship or not, I jumped onto a trash can and leapt onto a low roof. After that, I hurried to her home and jumped down. Casper, how are you? Isabel asked when she saw me. I don't know, I said. Ask your mom. What? What are you talking about? I think you know perfectly well what I am talking about, I claimed. And I don't even want to hear your explanation anymore. But we're done. It's over, out, finished, finito, gone. Find yourself another cat to manipulate. I walked away. I heard her yell behind me that I should give her another chance and that she wanted to have kittens with me. And did I hear it right? Was she telling me that she didn't need the emerald block anymore? Oh well, I didn't care. She was dishonest. I was so done with her. When I came home to my little corner under the cardboard box, I felt a sense of relief I hadn't felt in months. She was out of my life. I was free. I was released from her evil, treacherous grip. My buddies came to me and patted me on the shoulder. We set out to celebrate by chasing some mice in an old, deserted factory building. It was awesome. After some running around, one of my friends came to me with another cat next to him. Casper, I want you to meet Philona. She is new in the neighborhood and she wanted to get introduced to everyone. Philona looked really pretty. She was white and had soft fur and beautiful eyes. I was attracted to her immediately. Hi, Philona, I said. My name is Casper. Yes, I heard about you, she said. Really? I don't think we've ever met. Who told you about me? My sister, actually. She told me all about you. Funny. Who is your sister? Isabel. I swallowed and my eyes got bigger. The other cats noticed an anxious, fearful look on my face. I looked at Philona and looked at the guys. Then I just started running. No! I shouted. Stay away from me! The end. This has been Cat Book for Kids, Diary of a Wimpy Cat, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Bat Story. Funny Diary of a Silly Bat for Kids. Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Bart is a bat, a vampire bat. Just like all the other vampire bats, he likes to drink blood. He usually feels okay in the group he is in, but he also senses that nobody ever listens to him. That's why he is about to teach the others a lesson they will never forget. Chapter 1. Vampire Bats. Hi, my name is Bart. I am a bat. That's right, Bart the Bat. I like it that way. Nothing wrong with a simple name like that, is there? A lot of bats here are called by a name starting with a B. There's Boris, Betsy, Bartholomew, Bracken, Belinda, Barry, Bianca, and some other ones. We aren't regular bats, though. We are vampire bats. So some of us have names that start with a V. Just to mention a few, Victor, Valencia, Vicky, Valerie, and Volker are just some names among us. I love it here. There is so much freedom in the cave. We often go out to find fresh blood in the forest, and everyone is basically at liberty to do whatever pleases him or her. I often go out into the woods to scavenge for dead animals and suck the blood out of them. It's not always fresh, though, and that's a bummer. We, vampire bats, like it the best when it hasn't been there for a while. But then again, we don't kill often, so we usually just look for it. There is another problem. These bats are to themselves most of the time. They are some of the most antisocial creatures I know. Have you ever seen bats interact with each other? Neither have I. Bats flap around and fly into all kinds of different directions. They have no aim, no goal, no specific point of interest. They are as random as can be, all over the place. I heard of this guy once, a human who took out criminals and dressed up like a bat. That must have been one of the most sporadic, impulsive guys in the entire city, because really, if you base your superhero personality on a bat, I am sure the main reason must be because you have some kind of attention disorder. Anyway, let me give you a few examples of how frustrating this can be, and then I'll get to the good part. The part where one of my accidents became a severe lesson for all these bad listeners. So one time, I was talking to one of my buddies, or at least I consider him to be one of my buddies, and he totally ignored me. "Say, Barry," I said as I hung upside down next to him, "it's a nice day, isn't it? I mean, we've had worse weather than this. What do you think? Is it going to rain again?" No answer. "I guess you're preoccupied with some other thoughts. It's interesting when I space out because the whole world just flashes by in front of me. My thoughts go all over the place, and I can't even remember anymore where my thought process started. Has that ever happened to you?" Again, no answer. "You're not sleeping, are you? I kind of like sleeping during the day. As bats, we don't get to experience all that bright light. Our sonar senses take care of everything else. I mean, who needs glasses when you can just resonate the sound you make against all surfaces and estimate your position and the obstacles in your way?" I looked at him. He didn't even move. But his eyes were open, so I knew he was awake. Was he just trying to be mean? Did I talk too much? One final attempt. Here I went. "Have you noticed that the moon is getting fuller? If I'm right, we will see a full moon any time now. It's coming up. I don't know what it means, but I always like to think there is some kind of symbolism to it. I love seeing it, but I wonder if it has an effect on the tides of the sea or some climate changes. What do you think?" Hopeless. He just kept staring. I wondered if he became deaf since the last time I spoke to him. I was fed up with it, so I wished him a good day and flew to another spot in the cave. There I saw another one of my friends. Her name was Belinda. "Hi, Belinda. How have you been?" "Good, thanks." "What have you been up to?" "Not much." "Oh, okay. Well, neither have I. I just flew over a river with some fresh fish. It was amazing to see the reflection on their skin. When they're all wet, the moonlight shines on them, and when they jump out of the water, it's beautiful." "So what?" "Well, I didn't have any point in particular, just trying to make conversation. So have you done anything fun lately?" "No." "That's too bad. What do you usually do for fun then?" "Nothing." She wasn't cooperating. At least she answered me. That was more than my other friend did, but nothing was coming out. I got a little frustrated because I was doing all the talking, but with my questions, I tried to make it a two-way conversation. These bats were boring. Boring bats. Why couldn't we just have a good time together? Then I thought of something. "I like your ears, Belinda," I said. "They look a lot nicer than those of some of the other female bats." She gave me a weird look. Then she shrugged and flew away. Was it something I said? Chapter 2. Fresh Blood. Needless to say, I felt completely ignored by all these rude bats, so I left them for a while. I wanted to reorganize my thoughts. What was wrong with these bats that they didn't talk to me? Were they all just in their own little world? When I left, I flew as fast as I could. I was a little reckless, I must admit, but I didn't die or anything. I was by myself and having a good time. I flew across lakes, forests, and plains, and it was a beautiful sight. Eventually, I returned from my trip and made sure I stayed with the group again, for survival reasons. At the moment I arrived in our cave, they all woke up. Most of them started sniffing. They noticed something was off. Vampire bats have a strong nose, and the blood on my face would not go unnoticed. "What's that smell?" one of them asked. "It smells great," another said. "Where is it coming from?" one of my friends asked. Then they all looked at me. They saw it. "It's on his nose," one of the bats said. "Hey Bart, where did you get that fresh blood?" It wasn't until then that I realized I finally had their attention. I finally had the power to mess with their minds, but I was still reluctant. I didn't want to waste their valuable time, but they had kind of been asking for it. At first, I didn't want to tell them. "Never mind," I said. "Don't worry about it." But they insisted to know and kept asking. "Oh, don't be like that. Just tell us. If there's some fresh blood to drink, we want to know about it too." "But it's not important," I said, "so just forget about it." Then one of the biggest bats, Boris, came forward. "Bart, it would be terribly rude to know about fresh blood and not tell us about it. We have a right to know where you got that blood. We deserve to drink some as well." I was getting anxious. I didn't want to tell them because it didn't matter anymore, and it was a little embarrassing. But avoiding their questions wasn't going to work. They were too eager to find out. "Do you really want to know?" I asked. "Yes, tell us, man." "I'm warning you, it may not be worth your time, guys." "We don't care. It smells so good. We just want to know." I sighed. "Fine," I said. "I will show you." "Nice," Boris said. "Okay, everybody, follow Bart. He will show us the way." At that moment, I knew they would learn to listen to me. I had told them it wasn't worth their time, and they still wanted to know. I warned them about following me, but they still did. It didn't matter. They were going to find out how important it is to take someone as seemingly insignificant like me seriously. Chapter 3. Over the Lake. There we were, an entire group of at least 30 bats flying out of their cave. We were fluttering around, but aiming more than ever before. The bats wanted to drink some of that fresh blood they smelled. My nose was covered in it, and I was about to show them where it came from. Eventually, we saw the lake. We were getting closer. I remembered flying over that lake, so I knew we were on the right track. "Doesn't it look great?" I asked. "Yes, yes," they said impatiently. "Tell us where you got that blood already." "All right," I said. "I guess you're not the kind of animals that appreciates nature's beauty. Anyway, it's past the lake. We have to fly over it." "Lead the way, Bart," one of them said. "I am thirsty." Okay. We rested on one of the trees, ready to cross the lake, which was a long way to fly. When we all looked like we were ready to go, I took a deep breath and began flying over the lake. They all flew behind me. Suddenly, I heard one of the bats scream, "Ah! What is that?" I turned around and observed the bats in the group. Some of them were almost falling down into the water because from the water, projectiles were being shot at them. "What is going on here?" I asked. "They're guardians," one of the bats shouted. "Guardians from the deep. We have to fly higher." I thought of the reasons why we flew so low in the first place. It was mostly to save some energy. Flying higher would take a lot more out of us, but we had to do it. "Whoa, that was close," I said as a projectile almost hit me in the face. "Let's get away from the surface. We have to fly higher. Follow me." I ascended higher and higher. When I looked down, I was glad to see that the bats were all following me. None of them were wounded or taken down by the projectiles from the dangerous water guardians. "Phew, That was close. I knew they would never forgive me if they knew what it was all for. Luckily, we were all there, and we safely made it to the other side of the lake. Chapter 4. Through the Trees. "That was a long way to fly," one of the bats said while panting. "I'm glad we made it, though." "The spot where I found the fresh blood is beyond this forest," I said. "Let's fly through these woods." After a few minutes, we continued our trip and flew through the forest. But the weather wouldn't leave us alone. It began to rain, and the thunder scared some of the bats. When the rain became so heavy that it was pressing down our wings and the wind was in our faces, I suggested that we would find shelter. "Up there," Boris said. "Let's just hide in that tree." "Good idea," I said. All the bats followed Boris to the middle of the nearest pine tree. We sat down on the branches and watched the rain pour down. "This is terrible," one of the bats complained. "I hate rain. I've always hated rain." "My wings are wet," another one said. "I love the cave because it's a little wet but not too wet. You know what I mean?"
"Quit nagging," Boris said. "We were committed to find that fresh blood, so we go wherever Bart is going. Don't worry, Bart. I am patient enough, especially if I think about the delicious taste of that stuff."
I wouldn't get my hopes up, Boris," I said.
"Oh, you're just saying that. I will enjoy it. Just lead us there."
Again, he wasn't really listening, but he would discover why I said that. We were sitting there in that tree. We watched the lightning, listened to the thunder, and shivered because of the cold temperature. Some of the bats had fallen asleep. Nobody talked to each other. They were all grouchy and wet and tired. It was an awful situation to be in, but it was their own fault. It took another 3 hours before the rainstorm was gone. By that time, Boris woke everyone up and asked me where to go next. "Over there," I said. "Over the plains." Chapter 5. Past the Plains. The plains were surprisingly dangerous compared to the last time I was there. I didn't expect that. I had recently flown past them but hadn't seen any predators whatsoever. I guess the timing was just wrong this time, because even though it seemed serene at first, flying over the tall grass, seeing the exact location we were heading from miles away, we soon saw a shadow appearing in front of us. We looked up and were startled. "Is that what I think it is?" I asked. "That's a dark dragon, dude," one of the bats said. "We have to hide." "Hide where, though? There is no place to hide here. Have you looked around you?" We all stopped flying. Dark dragons can be extremely dangerous. They attack their prey from above and spit acid at them. And when they catch them, they eat them alive. None of us wanted to end our lives this way, so we all dove down to the ground. "Hide in the tall grass," I encouraged everyone. The dark dragon didn't see us. It was too far above us, and we were too little to be noticed. However, movement would give away our position, as the dark dragon would probably see it if something would fly underneath it. We held on tightly. We sat still for minutes while the dark dragon flew in circles. "When is it going to leave?" one of the bats asked. "I don't know," I whispered. "Just sit still, be quiet, and don't move." But did they listen? No, of course not. Because as soon as I said it, one of the less intelligent bats couldn't take it anymore. He flew up and yelled, "A dark dragon! We have to get out of here! Ah!" Idiot. Why didn't he just take my advice and wait? The dragon would have been gone in no time if they had just waited for it to leave, but no. Suddenly, the other bats began to panic as well, especially since the dark dragon had noticed them by now. They flew into all different directions, not knowing what they were doing, but trying to save their own lives. The dark dragon chased after some of them, spitting acid and whacking its claws at them. Fortunately, the dragon wasn't able to catch any of the bats, who were so random in their fluttering patterns that it was hard to attach any meaning or direction to it. "Let's move to the rocks, over there," I commanded. Some of the more patient members of our little bat group flew up and followed me to the Rocky Mountain area. I went as fast as I could and looked back a few times to make sure they were still behind me. Eventually, we reached the end of the plains. That was close. Another adventure behind us. Chapter 6. Under the Moon. We were hiding in between the canyon walls as we watched the remainder of our group get away from the dark dragon and join us in our hiding place. "Well done, guys," I said. "Sorry about the dark dragon. It wasn't there the first time I flew here. I had no idea it would be here." "It's okay. Just show us where you found that fresh blood," they said. "It's worth it." "Actually," I began, "I told you it wouldn't be, but it's up to you. There's nothing out there."
"Ha ha, you're funny, Bart. I know you're just playing with us," Boris said. "Now, into which direction should we go?"
Over there, I guess," I said.
"Good, let's go there. We are close. I can smell it."
"I think you're still smelling the blood on my nose," I tried to say, but they already flew away. Again, they didn't listen. We flew through the canyon and were surprised to see some wolves, but they didn't look like regular wolves. They had clothes on, ripped ones at least, and they were walking on 2 feet as if they had been human at some point in time. "Are those werewolves?" one of the bats asked. "Sure looks like it," I said. "Wow, I've never seen a werewolf up close." "And you don't need to. Up here we are high and dry, away from those filthy creatures." "Stay away from But before I could say another word, one of the bats already started flying lower. I shook my head and put my wing on my eyes. I could not believe these stupid bats. Every time I told them something they shouldn't do, they did it anyway. "Come back!" I shouted. But it was already too late. Some of the bats flew lower to observe the ferocious werewolves from up close. One of the werewolves noticed them and jumped up, reaching for one of the bats. "Whoa!" the bat said, as it barely evaded the werewolf's attack. "Come here, you!" the wolf shouted, climbing on the canyon's wall as quickly as it could and jumping onto another bat. "Get out of there!" I yelled, but nobody listened. So I started flying lower myself and distracted the werewolves by flying around them. Shouting that the others needed to get to higher ground, I flapped into every other direction and drove the wolves crazy. "Stand still already!" the werewolves cried out in frustration. Meanwhile, the other bats got away safely, leaving the scene and getting to an altitude the wolves couldn't get to. When they were all gone, I returned to the group and raised my voice of warning again, saying that I had told them to stay away from the wolves. "What are they up to?" someone asked. "I don't know and I don't care," I said. "We have to keep going. These wolves are not our problem." They knew I was right, so they stopped nagging about it. Chapter 7. Almost There. The group was starting to feel hungry. They complained a lot, and it was making me go nuts. I already knew they didn't listen much, but now they were constantly whining about this or that. Yuck. Was I even supposed to be a bat in this life? Don't answer that. "Are we almost there?" someone asked. "Yes," I answered. "Is it still far away?" another asked, only a few seconds later. "What did I just tell you? I just said that we are almost there. Didn't you listen to a word I said?" "Oh, okay. I thought I would just check, seeing that it was a few seconds ago." A little later, I received another question.
"Are we there yet?"
another bat asked. "No! Now stop asking me about it. It's not too far, but we are not there yet. Ah!" "Will it be worth it?" another bat asked. "For the 100th time," I began. "I already told you that it wouldn't be worth it and that it was a waste of time, but you guys insisted to go anyway."
"Sure," the bat said. "I can smell the fresh blood already."
I sighed. Would they ever listen to a word I say? But then, as we were flying, another bat tapped me on the shoulder. "Hey, Bart, I know the others never listen, but we'll just keep this between you and me. I just gotta ask you one thing, dude." Okay, go ahead.
How far is it still?
This was it. I was so ready to kill these idiots that I said, "Come closer and lean over, then I'll whisper it in your ear."
Okay, that's cool, he said as he leaned over.
We are not there yet. Understood? The decibels ringed in his ears as he almost dropped onto the ground from fear. I think he understood me this time, seeing that I made it loud and clear. Easy, man, another bat said. You don't have to yell, especially since we have a long journey ahead of us. Didn't you just say that it was very far away from here? I wasn't going to answer it anymore. I just kept flying. Chapter 8. Where It Came From. Suddenly, I recognized the place. This is where I first smelled the fresh blood. It really had been a long journey, but we were finally there. I almost felt a little guilty afterwards, seeing that I didn't give them much at all. The value of what I was about to say was as big as a grain of sand. I halted. I told them to stop. It was a little grove of trees. I sighed and breathed deeply. I was about to embarrass myself, but what was even more embarrassing was that all that time I had tried to tell them it was useless, but nobody had listened to me. They were so eager to follow their noses and taste buds that they forgot to get their ears checked. Hold on, I said. This is where it was. Where? Where? They said, getting more impatient by the second. Guys, do you see that tree over there? I asked. Yes, yes, they said, becoming aware of the fact that finally this was the end of the trip. Well, I didn't. The end. This has been Bat Story, funny diary of a silly bat for kids, adventure stories for kids. Written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Chicken Race, Diary of a Running Chicken, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Bryn is a little zombie, a kid zombie. He lives in a town full of zombies. But despite this strange location, he is still unique because he is the only one who rides a chicken every day. He is a chicken racer. When the chicken race begins, he finds himself stuck on a chicken that won't stop running. Scary. Listen to the adventures of Bryn and his chicken, Chick Norris, who end up in the middle of nowhere and have to battle beasts, follow a friend's guidelines, and make it home in time for the next race. A fun, engaging diary by a chicken racer. Chapter 1. The Chicken Race. Hi, my name is Bryn. It's like Brian, but not really. I am a chicken racer. You may wonder what that is. Well, let me explain. I ride a chicken all day, and, actually, yep, that's basically it. I am a zombie. I live in Zombieville. It's a peaceful town full of zombies. If you didn't know already, zombies are a little strange. They walk awkwardly, and they aren't always sure of what they are doing. But I considered myself quite intelligent, especially compared to some others. Not all the zombies in the village were chicken racers. In fact, none of them were. I never saw another one, so I was the only one. I was a zombie kid, meaning that I was one of the few hundred children in the village. Our parents would occasionally go harass the humans in surrounding villages. They were about 1 hour away from ours, and the zombie parents always liked attacking them. The kids never did any of that stuff. They were always assigned a babysitter or some else, usually a female zombie, a mom, that would make sure that they wouldn't go anywhere. But I was into something else. I liked racing. I would race on my chicken from one place to another, and in that aspect I was very unique, at least in Zombieville. Where are you going this time? Some kids would ask me. Don't know yet. I'm just going to run around, I would respond. Aren't you tired of riding that chicken? A girl asked one day. No, I said, I love it, and I will never get enough of it. But I didn't know that one day this answer would come back to haunt me. There are limits to everything. It's dumb to just do one thing in your life and focus on that. Sooner or later, you'll be fed up with it. And that's the simple truth. For me, that time came when they organized a race. It was a sunny day, a beautiful day to go for another chicken ride. I got out of bed, hopped onto my chicken, and headed out the front door. By the way, my zombie parents allowed me to keep the chicken in the house, as long as I would clean up its droppings. I called the chicken Chick Norris, because I had heard a similar name being mentioned somewhere. Chick Norris and I had seen all the corners of that town, but we never really left the village in order to remain safe. So on that sunny day, I went outside and saw some zombie kids staring at me. Side note, it's not uncommon for zombie children to stare a lot anyway, but this time they were particularly interested in me and my chicken. "What's happening?" I asked. "There is a race," one of the zombie boys said. "It's a chicken race, and I think they are looking for you." "Okay," I said. "Where is it?" "Up on the hill," the little boy said. "Thanks." As fast as I could, I made my chicken go up the hill. I was curious about who would organize a chicken race. When I came to the top of the hill, a lot of zombies from the village were gathered there. I saw chickens in cages with zombies feeding them. One of the zombies was putting up red tape, and others were carving lines in the sand. Zombie children, fathers, and mothers were on bleachers, waiting for the big event to happen. "Bryn," my mom said, who was already up there, "I am glad you could make it. We are almost ready to begin the race. Are you going to participate or not?" "Of course," I said. "Where can I register?" She pointed me into the right direction, and I rode to the table with the judges and the registration desk. "Name?" they asked. "It's Bryn," I said. "How do you spell that?" "Brynn," I said, spelling out my name. "Okay, name of your chicken?" they asked. "Chick Norris." They spelled it the right way, so I didn't need to explain. Then they said, "You can be in the race. Please step off your chicken." "Oh," I said, a little disappointed. "I thought I was going to stay on during the race." "What? No, that's not how it works. The chickens race against each other. There are no riders." "But I want it," I said. "I don't want to be separated from my Chick Norris. Can I do it this way, please?" They looked at each other. Then one of the zombies said, "You will only slow your chicken down. Are you sure you want to do this? Because we will not be responsible for the fact that you'll lose. Big time. You're lots heavier than the other chickens." "I will manage. Can I have your permission, please?" "All right," one of the judges said. "Stay on your chicken. You will be the exception." "Thank you," I said. Then I went to the starting line. This was where my adventure would begin. Chapter 2. Unstoppable. The chickens were lined up. They were on leashes. Their owners were holding on to them until the sign would be given, the sign that they were ready to let go. I was a little nervous. What if they were right? I would make a fool out of myself by losing and being so much slower. But I didn't want to let Chick Norris go alone. I cared about the chicken's safety. It had been my pal for a long time. I looked at the other chickens. They were full of energy, prepared to compete against each other and against me. The crowd cheered. Well, it was more like moaning, which is what zombies always do. But at least they made some noise, which encouraged me to try a little harder. "Ready?" a zombie announced. "Set! Go!" The owners all let go of their chickens, which sped off towards the finish line on the other end of town. But something happened that I didn't expect. You see, I had never compared my chicken to the other ones, so its sudden takeoff was a complete surprise to me. Chick Norris zoofed past the other chickens with great speed. Whoosh! I felt the wind in my face. We were way faster than they were. Within minutes, we passed all the homes and streets, with more zombies cheering the way zombies do, moaning, witnessing the race and hoping for the best contestant to win. There it was, the finish line. I was almost there, and I was going to be the first one to get there. Almost, Almost. I won! Finished! I heard one of the zombies with a flag on the side shout. I won! I won! My chicken and I won the chicken race! Okay, Chick Norris, you can stop now, I said, since she was still running. But she didn't listen. She kept running and didn't stop. It was becoming a little crazy, a little scary. Stop, Chick Norris! Stop already! I shouted. Nothing changed. She kept going and going, even out of town. I couldn't stop my chicken, and I didn't want to jump off either. Otherwise, where would it go? I wouldn't be able to follow her. So I stayed on, and we ran through the hills, the forest, and around the lake. We were far away from home, and I was screaming all the way, "Stop! Stop! Stop!" Chick Norris didn't stop. It was as if something had scared her, but I had no idea what that could have been. I was feeling scared. We were so far from home that I had started to doubt if we could even find our way back. It was a disaster. My chicken had become unstoppable. Chapter 3. Creature. Several miles outside of my hometown, Chick Norris finally stopped. She was exhausted and fell over. I fell off and sat down on the grass. My chicken was breathing heavily, unable to move. "Why did you panic?" I asked. Of course, my chicken couldn't say anything except for typical chicken sounds, and since I didn't speak the chicken language, I had no idea what those sounds meant. But I was hoping for some kind of sign or indication that would help me understand her. There wasn't any. Too bad. "Well, shall we go back?" I asked. She stopped panting and breathed normally again. "Are you ready to go?" I asked. She let me hop on and we rode back, but we didn't exactly go into the same direction. We were lost. If only I had paid more attention, I could have pinpointed my location better, but it was too late for that now. All I could do was to estimate and go off of certain recognizable features in the landscape. "There," I said. "Let's go over there." We rode towards the sun, which was what I thought was correct. After a while, we saw some ruins from an old building. It was in the middle of nowhere, but it looked like some people or zombies had previously lived here. I was curious, so I went inside with my speedy chicken. I inspected everything, from the decorated carpets on the ground with mold on them to the sidewalls that were halfway destroyed. It was definitely ancient, and my imagination went wild about knights, victorious zombies, and beautiful decaying zombie women. Ah, the imaginations of a child, a zombie child that is. There is no limit. Suddenly a sound from the distance startled me. What was that? I looked around the corner of one of the walls and saw a big brown bear approach the broken edifice. Where would I go? It was coming straight at me. "Come on, Chick Norris," I said. "Let's hide." Chapter 4. Cornered. We were shaking and shivering out of fear. The brown bear that had sensed our scent or seen us move was really close now. I heard its footsteps. It was a big, really big bear. "I don't want to be bear dinner," I whispered to my chicken. "Stay quiet. Maybe it will just leave us alone and go away." Chick Norris didn't make a sound, but it wasn't enough to keep the bear away. It came closer and closer, sniffing and sensing our distance. I was certain that this animal was fairly hungry, looking for something to eat. I don't know how good zombie flesh tastes, but I knew for a fact that it would at least eat my chicken if it would find us. All of a sudden, the bear jumped in front of us. "Roar!" it exclaimed. I stepped back, still riding my chicken. We were slowly going backwards as the bear came closer and closer. The corner of the ruins kept us from escaping. What were we going to do? The bear was extremely close now, and there were only a few feet between us and the monstrous predator. The bear showed its razor-sharp teeth and equally fierce claws. Yep, it was definitely going to eat us. We were doomed. "Help!" I yelled. "Help me! We are going to be eaten by a bear!" We heard other footsteps. They were soft and light. They weren't the bear's footsteps, so perhaps someone was coming to help us. But who? Chapter 5. Help on the Way. I was incredibly curious about whose footsteps were behind the bear's, and I was about to find out. When the bear came closer, I suddenly heard, "Come and get me, ugly animal!" The bear turned around. Behind him, there was another chicken racer, another little boy zombie riding a chicken. Wow, I thought I was the only zombie kid who did that, but apparently there were others, maybe just not from my village. "Are you afraid, or are you going to go after me?" the zombie boy said, taunting the humongous predator. Without hesitating, the bear ran after the chicken racer, who was as fast as I had been during the race. He zigzagged between the walls and rooms of the ruins, with the bear chasing after him. They disappeared. I wondered where they had gone. However, abruptly, out of the blue, I heard the chicken racer's voice say, "Hey you, whatever your name is, if you could climb on that tower and wait for my signal, that would be really helpful." "Okay," I said, knowing which tower he was talking about since there was only one real tower. "Come on, Chick Norris, let's help him out. He helped us, so let's finish this." Riding my chicken, I hopped from one rock to another and reached the top within seconds. And before I could question his methods, I knew why he had asked me to do so. On the edge, there was an enormous boulder that was about to fall. All it needed was a little push. I could already see this rock crush the bear, so I waited for his signal. Nothing came. The bear roared in the distance, but still no chicken racer. It happened fast, and I was glad that I stayed sharp, that I paid attention at the right moment. "Now!" the chicken racer yelled, coming out of nowhere. I didn't see a bear, but I obeyed blindly. I pushed as hard as I could until the boulder fell off the edge. I didn't see where the bear was, but I did hear a painful sound somewhere beneath the tower. It sounded like a bear who died. At least that was my best guess. I hopped down from rock to rock again and came to the base ground. There, the chicken racer was triumphantly standing on the boulder and the crushed bear. I was relieved to see that we survived and that the danger was gone. "Good job," he said. "My name is Peter. What's yours?" "Bryn," I said. "Bryn? That's an unusual name. What is the name of your chicken?" "Chick Norris," I replied. "Ha! I like it," he said. "Mine is called Chick-fil-A. I know, it's not original, but I just picked it. Where are you from?" "From Zombieville," I said. "I am lost. My chicken went crazy and it didn't stop running." "Oh, I've had that problem before," Peter said. "It was probably just startled by something or someone and then it panicked. Chickens are pretty sensitive animals, you know." "Yes, so I've noticed," I said. "Where are you from?" "I am from another zombie village a few miles north from here, but I know my way around. I've been on these plains and in these woods so many times, I know them all by heart." "Good. Then you can take me home, can't you?" "That's exactly what I was going to do, Bryn. Let's not waste any more time here." Chapter 6. Finding the Way Back. Peter knew where to go, and I noticed that within minutes. "Go left here," he would say, and, "No, not that way. That will take you to the humans." I was happy to have such an experienced guide with me. We hit the plains. It was an endless field of grass and emptiness. I didn't remember going through there, but he assured me that it was just a shortcut. "Zombieville, wasn't it?" he asked. "Yes, that's right. Now I remember. Don't worry, we are still heading into the correct direction." "How do you know where we're going if it all looks the same?" I asked, a little suspicious. "Ah, but it doesn't all look the same," he answered. "See the sun? Since it is already afternoon, the sun tells us what is north, south, west, and east. Besides, the grass is changing. See? The grass on this side has different weeds growing between them. That tells us that we're going to a lower altitude and are getting closer to your hometown." "Wow, where did you learn all that stuff?" "Let's just say that I never stayed home a lot," Peter said. Then he turned around and said, "Hey, what's that?" "Uh-oh, I think we're in trouble." He pointed at some dots in the distance. They were getting bigger within seconds. "What are those?" I asked. "I think they're explosive monsters," he said laconically. "We should keep going." But as we turned our heads, we saw the other monsters come from the other side too. And then we saw them come from another direction, and another. 4 different directions, 4 groups of dots that were coming closer. "Have you ever seen those kinds of monsters before?" Peter asked. "No," I admitted. "What do they do?" "They don't particularly like zombies, and I think they picked up on our location. Trust me, I've handled them before. But I have a plan." "What shall we do?" "First, you have to realize that we are a lot faster than they are. Our chickens are super duper quick, so use that to your advantage. Second, these monsters will just keep running until they explode." "But they're coming from everywhere. Where will we go?" "Through them," Peter said, squinting his eyes. "Get ready." I anticipated the arrival of the green explosive monsters. We chose a side and decided to go through that group of monsters. I quickly looked behind me, and to the left, and to the right. They were so close. There were dozens of them. "Now!" Peter yelled, as he sped forward and maneuvered his way through the monsters in front of him. I followed his moves in the exact manner I thought I should. Left, right, left, another left, right. We both evaded at least 20 or 30 monsters and made it out of there alive. "Keep running!" he shouted. "They're going to explode!" I went as fast as possible, hitting my chicken with my feet a little to crank up her speed. As we sprinted out of there, we heard the loudest sound we had ever heard. Boom! We stopped and looked back. It was a gigantic explosion caused by the collision of the more than 100 monsters that had been running at us from 4 different directions. "Would you look at that?" Peter said. "I've seen some monsters explode, but nothing compares to this." "Very impressive," I admitted. "I am just glad we weren't in there. Those monsters are crazy." "Yes, they are. That's why I usually avoid them altogether, but this time they found us. Let's hope we don't bump into more of them." "Yes, let's hope so." Chapter 7. Home. "It's not much further," Peter said. "We are almost there." "Good," I said. "I am eager to go home." We both traveled for another hour or so. The plains made way for a lush landscape of green hills, which I easily and instantly recognized. "There it is," I said. "There is Zombieville. Thanks, Peter." "You're welcome," he said. "Can you find your way from here?" "Well, yes, but it would be fun if you could stay over, even if it were just for one night. What do you think?" "Let me think," he said. And within 2 seconds, he continued. "I've decided. Let's do it. I'll come for 1 day, but no longer. My zombie parents will be worried about me. Okay?" "Yes, that makes sense," I said. "Let's go, Chick Norris. We are almost home." We ran towards the outskirts of the village and saw the cute little zombie homes that I was so familiar with. However, when Peter saw a dog, he stopped. "That's scary," he said. "Don't let your chicken go near that dog or she will panic again." "Huh, interesting," I said. "This dog is right next to the finish line. I wonder if that dog is the reason why my chicken panicked in the first place." "That's probably it, Bryn. I wouldn't doubt it." He followed me to my home, and my zombie parents were delighted to meet him. They were happy that I was back, and they told me about the race the next morning. "Race? What race?" I asked. "There will be another race, again, with chickens," my mom said. "But this time there will be different chickens. It's like the second round or something. Do you think you can participate again?" "Yes, but this time I don't want to get lost," I said. "Is it the same route?" "I think so," my mom said. "Let's find out tomorrow." We stayed up a little longer, and eventually we went to bed. Chick Norris was glad to be back at our house as well, and I noticed she was going in circles, happier than ever. Chapter 8. The Next Chicken Race. When I woke up the next morning, I immediately went to the same top of the hill next to the village. The racing chickens were in cages. They were different chickens with different owners than the ones I previously raced against. Peter followed me as well. The registration table was in the same spot.
"Ah, Bryn," one of the judges said. "It was unfortunate that you were gone. We were going to give you a medal for winning. Do you want it now? I can give it to you."
"Actually," I began, "I was wondering if I could be in this race as well."
"No problem," the judge said. "You were amazing out there. Just make sure you hit the brakes on that chicken of yours before you get lost again."
"Oh, I am sure I will manage this time," I said.
"How about me?" Peter asked. "Can I be in the race with my chicken too?"
"Are you from Zombieville?" the judge asked.
"No, but I am a zombie."
"I can see that, but officially only the inhabitants from Zombieville are allowed to register."
Peter looked sad. Then the judge leaned forward and whispered,
"But we aren't very official anyway, so just put your name and your chicken's name there at the bottom and you're good to go."
"Thank you, sir," Peter said politely.
"Get ready, boys. We are about to start."
The race almost started. I looked at Peter and he looked at me. Who was going to win this time? I was certain I could outrun the chickens on leashes, since a chicken racer is so much faster anyway. But could my chicken outrun Peter's? That was the question.
"Ready, set, go!"
the announcer shouted. We took off, the chickens, Peter, and me. We ran faster and faster, so fast that the dust from the sandy streets blew everywhere. The crowds were cheering, Reed moaning, like zombies do. And then the most important moment of the race came. The location where the dog was had to be avoided. I made Chick Norris stop and go through an alleyway on the right. "Come on, Chick Norris, we can do this," I said. With me on her back, she ran to the right, then to the left, and eventually she took another left. When we came around the corner, we went right and we were back on track. I looked behind me. The dog was there, but my chicken hadn't seen it. Then I looked in front of me and saw Peter crossing the finish line before me. "Finish!" the zombie on the side said when I crossed the line as well. "Hey," I said to Peter, "how did you get past the dog?"
"Oh, didn't I tell you? I trained my chicken to not be scared of dogs anymore. You should try it. It really works."
"Oh, I said, almost saying something bad in anger. Then I thought of the fact that winning wasn't the most important thing in life, and I patted Peter on the back. "Well done," I said. "You should teach me how to do that."
"Of course I will," Peter said. "But you have to promise to come visit me in my hometown then."
"I will," I said. "That sounds like fun." Shortly after our little conversation, we both received a medal. I got one for the day before that, and Peter got one for that same day. My parents were proud of me. We were both champions, chicken champions, and I don't think I have to mention that we celebrated afterwards. The end. This has been Chicken Race, Diary of a Running Chicken, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Crazy Chickens. Diary of a Chicken Escape Plan. Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Cheryl the chicken is tired of her life. She wants to experience more freedom and meet a nice, handsome rooster. But the life in the den is limiting her, and the farmer makes some of the chickens disappear. What is going on here? Will she find a plan to escape? Under her direction, the chickens come up with different tactics to beat the farmer and escape from the farm. Listen on to find out what happens to them. Chapter 1. Simply Eggs. "Cheryl, where are those eggs you laid yesterday?" my friend Maria asked. "In the other den. I chose to hide them because the farmer has a dog, remember?" "Oh, that makes sense. Sorry. I didn't know dogs ate eggs, though." "They'll eat anything they can get their paws on, Maria. Trust me." If you say so. I had 3 friends in the chicken den I was close with, Maria, Elizabeth, and Vicky. They were funny, sweet, and intelligent, but sometimes they got a little nasty. Gossip was a frequent activity, and the 4 of us, yes, I have to admit that I participated too, could go on forever and ever about other chickens, the things the farmer was doing, and various other miscellaneous topics. "Have you heard?" Vicky asked me one day. "Heard what?" I asked. "The others are talking about roosters. They say that there must be a farm with roosters nearby because they heard the sounds in the distance." "Impossible," I said. "There are no roosters in this area. Everybody knows that." "I heard it too," Elizabeth said. "The roosters are not too far away, Cheryl. It's true." "Then why don't we go meet them?" I asked. Because we're trapped, silly chicken," Maria said, who joined the conversation. "Listen, girls," I started. "If there are roosters, then I am going to have one. I will not stay single all my life. Are you kidding? I want little chickens and a husband. I want the family life." "But there is no way to get out of here," Maria said. "Besides, why would you want to face the risks of the wild? At least here it is safe. We have no motive, no reason to leave this place." "So you want to die alone? Is that it?" I asked. "I didn't say that," Maria answered. "I just think that if the farmer wants us to have roosters, he'll provide us some, don't you think?" Vicky spoke up too. Girls, we are perfectly fine here. Okay, we don't have roosters, but we receive food every day, and all we have to do is lay eggs. Isn't that good enough?" "Well, I don't know," I mumbled. "We'll see. There might be something better out there." "Trust me, Cheryl," Elizabeth said. "Out there, we have to find our own food. The freedom you get is not worth the survival skills you need to stay alive. It's a harsh world, and we are definitely better off here." I didn't want to disagree with them anymore, so I nodded and left after a few more remarks. I looked at the sky. It was beautiful. The weather was sunny, and the few clouds that were there were formed in the shapes of, well, they looked like roosters to me. I always wondered how it would be for a chicken such as I to be protected and loved by a courageous rooster who would take care of our offspring and would always be there for me. Vicky joined me in my search across the sky. "What are you looking at?" she asked. "Clouds," I said. "What kinds of shapes do you see in them?" "Nothing, actually," she said. "Oh, wait, maybe a den, or a little person, and I think that one looks like a cat." "Don't you see a rooster in there?" I asked. "No, why?" "No reason," I lied, but now I knew. It was just what I wanted to see. "You're a little weird, Cheryl," she said. I know. She left. I was by myself, or at least far enough from the other chickens in the den. The den was nice. We were free-roam chickens, and we had nothing to complain about. Each morning when the sun would rise, the farmer would come and throw some food on the floor. As chickens, we would almost fight over some pieces at first, but then we would realize each day that there was more than enough for all of us. It had been like this my entire life. The red wood of the coops contrasted against the green bushes behind it, and the fence was incredibly tall, so tall that none of the chickens had even tried to fly over it. In case you didn't know, chickens can't fly very high. "Hey, Cheryl," I heard behind me as I was daydreaming. "What's up, Maria?" I asked. "Did you hear that Cluck was sick?" "Cluck is sick? But she is always feeling so good." "True, but today she looks tired. By the way, you didn't hear this from me. Cluck doesn't want to be called sick. She says she would rather deny it, and that she will beat up anyone who claims that she isn't feeling well. But I saw it in her face. She is not well." "I know that she is touchy about that subject," I said. "Why do you think that is?" "No idea. Perhaps the farmer doesn't like it when chickens get sick. Who knows? But then again, who cares? As long as we know about it, don't tell anyone else." "Oh, and I suppose you haven't told anyone about her illness yet, have you?" I asked Maria. "Me? Of course not," Maria said. But I knew she wasn't honest, so I just laughed. Yes, it was one silly chicken den, with gossiping ladies and crazy mayhem whenever food arrived. It was the way we lived: eat, lay eggs, gossip, and run around without a purpose. I was a bit quieter and more thoughtful than some other chickens, though. I often found myself looking at the farm, the bushes outside the fences, and the strange rain or wind that would appear out of nowhere. "You think too much," Elizabeth had once said, to which I responded, "Let me think about that statement." She cracked up laughing when I said it, claiming that I had just confirmed what she had said, and that too made me think. Anyway, one of the things I thought about was why Cluck was so sensitive about being called sick. Why would anyone be offended by that? It made no sense to me. Until the next day. Chapter 2. For dinner? No way! The farmer was late. It was the next day. We had all slept through the night, but there was one chicken that hadn't been sleeping well, and she had kept me up at the beginning. Cluck. Cluck was constantly coughing and sneezing. I knew she wasn't feeling well, even though she was trying to hide it, and with my keen ears, I was bothered by it all the time. I couldn't stand the sound of her clogged beak, so I moved around a lot and had a hard time falling asleep. But then it had stopped. The coughing was gone. I concluded that she must have found a way to clear her beak and feel better, or that she had simply fallen asleep. So that night I shrugged and fell asleep. Back to the morning. We were all waiting. It didn't make any sense that the farmer was late, but there was nothing we could do about it. So we grudgingly accepted our late breakfast and ate as much as we could, as usual. However, something strange was going on. Where was Cluck? Was she still sleeping? That would be a logical explanation since she was so tired anyway, but it still made me wonder. "Where is Cluck?" I asked after filling my belly with delicious food. "I don't know," Elizabeth said. "She must still be asleep," Maria said. "Where does she usually sleep?" I asked. "On the other side, right next to the corner of the fence," Maria answered. I wanted to know everything about her disappearance. It was fishy. I didn't trust it, so I went to her coop and went inside. "Cluck, are you in here?" I asked. Nothing. Nobody was there. No Cluck, no other chickens. "Cluck!" I yelled as I walked out. "Cluck! Has anyone seen Cluck?" "I think the farmer might have taken her last night," Vicky said. "He does that sometimes." "And will she come back?" I asked. "I don't know. I never pay attention to the details," Vicky admitted. "Funny, because you're always so good at gossiping," I said. "One would think you were one of the best at remembering details." "It's true," I heard Elizabeth say behind me. I turned around. What is true? That she won't come back, or that Vicky is bad at remembering details? "Both," Elizabeth said. "So what are they doing with her? Are they going to heal her because she is sick?" "You are very naive, Cheryl," Elizabeth said. "If you're as old as I am, you begin to understand more about these humans." What is that supposed to mean? What is happening to her? The other chickens were joining the conversation. They stood around the both of us and listened intently. Elizabeth sighed and said, "She will be eaten, served for dinner." "What?" I shouted. The other chickens made noises as well. "Shut up, everyone," Elizabeth said. "Don't pretend you don't know about it. We have a good life here, as I mentioned yesterday, but every once in a while one of us has to go. It's just the cycle of nature." "What cycle?" I asked. "Do you think I want to end up on a plate? This is ridiculous. How come you never said anything?" "Oh, come on," Elizabeth said. "It's not like we can do anything about it. Most of you probably knew already, but you pretended to be in La La Land. It's just the harsh reality of life. There's nothing we can do, so there's no point fretting over it." "So Cluck is dead?" Vicky asked. "Is or will be," Elizabeth said calmly. "Either way, the humans love our eggs, but they also love our meat. And if a chicken gets sick, she will be eaten because her eggs production will be lower." Oh, that's probably why she was so sensitive about being called sick, I said. She knew about it. Yes, she did, Elizabeth said. And it would be wise for you to accept this fact as well. It's just what humans do. Accept it? Accept it? I will never accept it. We are getting out of here. Who is with me, sisters? All the chickens made loud noises. They were willing to join me in my rebellion. There was no way I was going to accept being eaten. I still had dreams. I still had hopes. I wanted a life. And this farmer was not going to take it away from me. Chapter 3. The Scare Tactic. I was so angry at the farmer. I thought he had protected us from the foxes and the wolves to help us, but all he had done was save us for himself. He was a predator. The moment I found out about this entire conspiracy, I was determined to fight him. We were going to fight for our lives. We need a plan, I said out loud to the chickens standing around me. I'm out, said Elizabeth. You cannot fight the farmer. It's impossible. So excuse me, but I am going to do something else. I was fine with it. Just because she didn't believe in us didn't mean we couldn't do it. We could scare the farmer, and then he will stay away from us, Vicky said. Excellent, I said. I don't think we have to come up with any other ideas. This is going to be it. The chickens cheered. Let's scare the farmer, Maria exclaimed. Wait, how are we going to do it? We will create a scarecrow. Yes, that's it, a scarecrow. Crows are always afraid of them, so humans should be too, right? I don't know if that is a correct conclusion, Cheryl, Maria said. I mean, I personally think that scarecrows are scary, but the humans put them up for the birds, so maybe they don't do much. Then we'll light it on fire, I said. If the scarecrow won't scare him by itself, then the fire will, won't it? I guess so. It's perfect, I said. It's a perfect plan. Come on, girls, let's execute it. Some of you have to gather some rags and others a stick and straw. Let's go. The chickens obeyed me like I was their highest-ranking officer. They dispersed immediately after I said it, and within minutes they came back with an old shirt that had been lying around on the property and a big pole that had been detached from one of the coops. Nice, I said. First we'll stick the pole into the ground. Help me out, please. All the chickens that were able to squeeze in mustered the strength to dig a hole and stick the pole into the ground. Then we filled up the rest of it with sand so it would stay. Piece of cake, I said. Now put the shirt on it, and I want straw. Lots of straw. Let's make a head and a body, ladies. No sooner said than done. The scarecrow was ready. We were proud of our creation, but something was still missing. We need fire, I said. Where can we get fire? There is a light up there, Maria said. If we smash it onto the ground, the electricity could light the straw on fire. It will be super creepy. Okay, we now know what we have to do when the farmer comes. Let's be ready tomorrow. That was it. We were done with our scarecrow. All we had to do was wait. Then the night fell. It became dark. And even though we slept well, part of us was anxious anticipating the event that would take place the next day. When the sun rose and the farmer came on time as usual, I had no doubt in my mind that he had eaten Cluck. I winked at the chickens who were sitting by the light. They were waiting for the opportune moment. The farmer opened the gate with his right hand. In his left hand, he had a bucket with food. The chickens were all told to abstain from food in order to make the plan work. When he walked inside the den, he was surprised to see the scarecrow. Huh? Where did this come from? Is my neighbor messing with me? I looked at the chickens close to the light again. Now! I yelled. They knocked over the light, which fell on the ground and made the straw catch fire. Whoa! The farmer exclaimed. Fire! I better go back and get something to extinguish it. He closed the gate and ran into the house. Now what? Vicky asked. Well, I started, but I hadn't thought it through. I didn't know what to do next. The farmer came back with a bucket of water, which he threw at the burning scarecrow. "And that solves that," he said with a smile. Then he walked away. The fire was gone. The trick had failed. Chapter 4. The Competition Tactic.
What were we supposed to do after the scarecrow caught fire?
Maria asked. "I don't know," I said. "I guess there is no way out of here. The plan didn't work. Sorry, girls."
So what do we do now?
Vicky asked. Another few dozens of chicken eyes were looking at me in a curious way, so I knew I had to come up with another plan. I was thinking and thinking, and I knew everyone else was thinking that I was thinking too much. But where else would a good idea come from? So I didn't let them bother me. Suddenly, I came up with it. "Aha!" I said. "I've got it."
Tell us, Cheryl,
Maria said. The farmer only eats the chickens he considers to be inferior or useless. So to avoid being eaten, we have to lay lots of eggs. If he sees how many eggs we lay, he won't eat us because he will know that he'll miss out on all the eggs he could have had. Does that make sense?
A little, but how many eggs do we have to lay?
Maria asked. As many as possible, I said. Let's start working, ladies. That was the last thing I said about that. For the next few days, we laid eggs like crazy. It became a match of who could lay the most eggs. Each time, the farmer would come and be impressed with the many eggs for that day. He was always in a good mood, or so it seemed.
I am nervous, Vicky said one day. I haven't been laying as many eggs as the other chickens. Do you think he'll eat me next? I mean, if there would be a competition, I would be the biggest loser.
I don't think you have to worry, I said. You have been laying twice as many eggs as before. He knows that if he eats you, he won't get all your eggs. So I don't think he'll choose that option. I think we got him this time. He won't be eating us anymore. But I was wrong. The next day, one of the chickens was missing, but it wasn't Vicky. When we all came together and counted everyone, we concluded that it was Susie who had been taken in her sleep. Why Susie? I asked. Was Susie sick? Everyone shook their heads. Was she not laying enough eggs? Again, everyone shook their heads. She was one of the best, one of them even said. Then what was it? I don't think there is a guarantee, Maria said. I think the farmer just takes whoever he pleases. Perhaps she was fat, so there is more meat on her. Or perhaps he doesn't care and just takes any chicken. Do you really think he is that selective? You may be right, I admitted. It looks like he is pretty random. We are all in danger, girls. We cannot prevent him from doing this anymore unless we come up with a different plan. Chapter 5. The Hiding Tactic. I was walking back and forth in the chicken coop. There had to be something, anything, we could do. I looked at the little chicken homes we were always sleeping in. I observed the fence and the 2.5 trees that were in our relatively small area. I've got it, I finally said. Why didn't I think of this earlier?
What?
Vicky asked.
Do you have another plan? It better work this time, Maria said. I don't feel like failing again.
Oh, don't be so negative, I said. It will work, I am sure of it. We just have to hide.
Hide?
Yes, it's very simple. If we hide, then the farmer won't find us. If he doesn't find us, he will think that we're gone and leave the gate open. Then we can sneak out and find freedom.
It doesn't sound like a bad idea, actually, Vicky admitted. Let's do it.
I informed the other chickens, and that day we were preparing for our hiding spots. We found some inconspicuous hiding places in the trees, behind the dens, and in the corners. Some of the chickens hid up in the highest parts of the dens, clinging to the ceilings, and others buried themselves in the sand underneath them. I was optimistic. We were ready. This was our chance. The next day, the farmer came as usual and threw some chicken food on the ground. At first, I was a little anxious, because what if the chickens couldn't resist the temptation of eating? Then everything would be lost. I dreaded their lack of self-control. I held my breath and looked around me. I saw some chickens behind the trees and the dens. They were quiet and didn't move a muscle. I was so proud of them. They remained loyal to our plan. Please don't move. Please don't move, I thought over and over in my head. They didn't. It was great. Where did all the chickens go? The farmer asked out loud. I must have sworn they were here yesterday. This doesn't make any sense. He put the food away and looked behind the den. Then he looked inside the den, but he didn't see any of the chickens hiding in there. Odd, he said. I didn't leave the gate open during the night, did I? He walked towards the gate and checked the lock. Looks fine to me. Maybe I need to search more thoroughly. He closed the gate. Yes, I thought, this is our chance. But the gate was locked. As I came out of my hiding place and watched the farmer walk towards his house, I was disappointed at the sight of the gate, which didn't help us at all. I signaled to the other chickens to stay where they were at, and I watched the farmer come back. But this time, he had a dog. I quickly sped back to my hiding place, hoping that this wouldn't cause any trouble. The gate was opened. The farmer and the dog came into the coop. Find them, Bruno, I heard the farmer say. Within seconds, it became a completely chaotic situation. Chickens were flying and flapping all over the place. The dog, with its nearly perfect sense of smell, played around with some of the chickens. Mayhem and panic were dominant in this feather-losing, loud, messy chicken chase by a playful dog named Bruno. I flew against the fence myself, trying to get away from this monstrous dog, and I hit my head. Ouch, I said. I was unconscious. That was the last thing I remembered. The muffled sounds in the back were the evidence of another failed attempt to escape the chicken coop. The dog was enough to find all the chickens and discover their hiding places. Mission failed. Again. Chapter 6. The Escape Tactic. Cheryl, are you okay? I heard someone ask. I opened my eyes. I was lying on my back and looking straight into the eyes of Vicky, who was concerned about my well-being. Other chickens had gathered around me by now, and they were curious to hear what I had to say. Sorry, girls, we have to try something else, I said. I don't have any other genius ideas. You were thinking in the right direction, Maria said. We just didn't take every aspect into account. When the farmer comes in, we just have to make sure we can escape behind his back. And what do you suggest we do? I asked. He will always see us. The gate only opens for so long and then it closes. How about we make him trip? Vicky asked. Then we could quickly run around him and escape through the gate. That will never work, we heard someone say in the back. It was Elizabeth. You are just wasting your time with all these crazy schemes. Why don't you just give up? And what if it does, Elizabeth? I asked. Will you give this last plan a try just because we are friends? Please, Elizabeth, just work with us this one last time. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. Sure, she said. But if this doesn't work, then I want you to enjoy life and stop thinking about it. I promise, I said. This will be the last try for now. Good, then I'm in. Okay, so here's what we need to do, I said, and I explained the other details of the plan to them. Another day, another morning, another plan, another attempt to escape. Would it work this time? The farmer came to the coop, as usual, and tossed some food onto the ground. Normally, feeding time would become a frenzy, a funny, crazy way of chickens fighting for specks and crumbs, but this time we had something else in mind. With the same craziness we would usually use to fight over food, we flapped and flew and ran around in circles. The farmer was surprised. What's going on here? The chickens are crazier than ever. He stepped back, and that was the exact moment that determined the outcome, because he wasn't looking. Whoa! He exclaimed as he fell backwards, tripping over a couple of chickens that deliberately got in his way. The farmer fell. It was like a moment in slow motion. The thud was loud, and the food fell out of his hands. Now! I yelled. The gate is open! The farmer is down! Let's get out of here! All the chickens ran out of the coop. Even Elizabeth, who had been so skeptical, followed us. Some chickens were trying to get some food, but I encouraged them to leave it. "We can always find food later," I said. "Don't miss out on this chance to escape." They left it alone and followed me into the meadows. As we kept running, we saw some red and white mammals. "What are those?" I asked. "Those are mushrooms," Elizabeth said. "Don't worry about them, they are harmless." "Where shall we go?" I asked. But then we heard howling. "Uh-oh," I said. The howling was in the distance. There were barking sounds as well. Dogs were chasing us, and they were following our traces. Apparently, after some time, the farmer had recovered and unleashed his hounds to go after us. "They are much faster than us," I said. "We need to lose them." "But they can smell us," Vicky said. "We are doomed." "Not if we go through here," Maria said, pointing to a creek ahead of us. "Maria, you're super smart," I said. "You are right. The dogs will lose our tracks if we go through the water. Let's move it, ladies." We ran and ran. We ran our hearts out until we reached the river. The dogs were approaching us. I was afraid that they would find us anyway, even after wading through the water. Still, we went along and reached the other side through the cold, flowing water of the tiny river that separated the meadows and farmers' fields. The dogs were coming closer. They saw us. They were standing on the other side of the river, ready to come through and take us back. And then I saw ducks. They were our solution. "Hey, ducks!" I yelled. They reacted by looking my way. "We need your help distracting these dogs." They looked at the dogs. There were at least a dozen ducks, and fortunately, they immediately understood what we needed.
"You got it," one of the ducks said. "Get out of here while you still can."
As the ducks flew around the dogs and confused them with their sporadic movements, we were able to sneak away into the forest and say goodbye to our former territory. The world was ours. We were free. And thanks to the ducks, the farmer would never find us. Chapter 7. Freedom. The days went by, and we scurried around for food, trying to survive. We couldn't find much, so occasionally we went back to the farmers and looked around in their sheds and barns to find some grains or other foods. And one day it happened, the thing I wanted the most. I was walking around in the forest, doing my own thing, minding my own business, when a rooster appeared in front of me. "Huh?" I said. "A rooster? Where did you come from?"
"We've been in this forest for quite a while," he said.
"We? Do you mean to say that there are more of you?"
"Yes, I will spare you the details of the story, but we made it out of the rooster dens. We tricked the farmer into coming, made him trip, and ran out of there as fast as we could. The dogs chased us, but they lost our tracks when we went through the river. The ducks distracted us."
I couldn't believe my ears. These roosters had done the exact same thing as we had done. My eyes got bigger. "And how many of you are there?" I asked.
"Come, I will show you," he said.
He took me to the roosters' hiding place. There were dozens of them, almost the same amount of chickens that had escaped with me. I felt flattered when the roosters greeted me with courtesy and complimented me about being such a beautiful chicken. From that time on, the chickens and roosters in the forest bonded. The chickens laid eggs, and they had baby chickens. The roosters were brave enough to steal food from the farmers' barns, and everyone was happy. Our little chicken colony flourished. We were finally free, and all our needs were fulfilled. The end. This has been Crazy Chickens, Diary of a Chicken Escape Plan, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Crazy Cows. Story of the Magical Flute and the Cattle. Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Cows aren't that smart. Everyone knows that. But did you know that something beautiful took place in a tiny village called Milktown? There was a problem, a tragedy waiting to happen, a calamity almost impossible to prevent. But in this story, a hero arises, an experienced mystery figure with a magical item. Hurry and listen more, because this story will blow your mind. Chapter 1. Cows. This is a story about a farmer and a boy with mysterious powers. And even if you are skeptical at first, you may just believe it after reading it, because everything in this story is both true and almost unbelievable. Cows were all over the place. The village of Milktown didn't get its name for nothing. Their economy was based on cow milk and cow meat. Herds of hundreds of cows were eating grass every day. The village mainly consisted of farmers. There were some other animals, but mostly cows. It was a peaceful town. Nothing unusual usually happened. The cows would get milked, they would be gathered in barns, and they would have fresh grass to eat each day of the week. The shifting system allowed some patches of land to recover from being trampled on, while others would provide these cattle the necessary nutrients. But cows were not that bright. A farmer once said that if the lowest IQ in the world was 0, then a cow would have an IQ of -10, implying that they had no brains whatsoever. Of course, that wasn't true. Cows had brains, but they were just wired differently. In order to understand how to control these thick animals, one had to know the tricks. And this was something that many farmers thought they did, but in reality, they didn't. Some of the farmers had a hard time keeping these cows together, since their walking patterns were so unpredictable and made no sense. Brady was such a farmer. He had a big herd of cows, hundreds of them, and he mostly made a living by milking them.
"The cows are being weird today," he told his wife.
"Again? When are they not weird, Brady?" she asked.
"Oh, I don't know. Sometimes, I guess. Look at that one, for example. She keeps bouncing against the fence with her head as if it's nothing. What is going on in their minds?"
"Beats me. Those animals are a mystery."
"But Toby understands them, right, Toby?"
Brady looked at his dog and petted him on the head.
"Bark, bark,"
Toby said.
"Go get them, Toby,"
Brady said. Toby ran off and barked at the cows, trying to gather them into one place. He was okay at it, but it was challenging. The cows mooed and ran into all different directions at first.
"Ugh, they're so stupid,"
Brady said. "But perhaps that's why we can dominate their species." His wife laughed. "That's probably why," she confirmed. "I'm going inside. Do you care for some freshly baked bread?"
"Do I? Honey, if it was up to me, I would eat a whole loaf of that stuff. You make the best in the world."
"Thanks," she replied shyly. Brady looked at Toby and said,
"Well done, Toby. You finally got all of them. Come get your bone."
Chapter 2. Vanishing. One day, calamity struck. It was the day everyone realizes that this was serious. So far, the occasional cow would escape and never be heard of again, but this time, it was getting out of hand. The farmers had come together in a meeting, a farmers' council that would decide how to deal with this problem. It didn't get more complicated than a bunch of bales of hay stacked together, and a bunch of traditional men holding on to their pitchforks talking in heavy accents.
"What are we here for anyway?"
Bobby asked.
"You mean to say that you haven't even experienced no problems with the cows?"
Sid asked.
"I don't have no cows,"
Bobby said.
"Ah, that's why you don't know,"
Brady said.
"Is everyone here?"
one of the farmers asked.
"I think so,"
Brady said.
"We should probably begin. Men, I called you together because we're all having the same problem, except for Bobby here."
Everybody laughed.
"No, but in all seriousness, our cows are vanishing. It's a disaster, and I wanted to have this meeting to see if we can shed some light on this situation. Does anyone have an idea why they are disappearing and where they have gone?"
At first, it was silent. Then someone raised his hand and spoke up.
"Maybe they don't want to be milked no more,"
he said. Everyone laughed again.
That's funny and ridiculous at the same time, buddy. Any other ideas?
Has anyone seen any wolves out here?
Another one asked. The farmers shook their heads.
Have you? One of them asked.
No, I just wondered if anyone else did, because if they did, that would be your answer. Well, don't they all go after them wheat? Bobby asked. I heard them cows are suckers for wheat.
You're right, Brady said. A cow would follow wheat all the way off a cliff. When they smell food, their brain only thinks of one thing.
Which is why we must find them,
Sid the farmer said.
Wherever them animals are, they're stupid enough to fall off a cliff and die.
I know, another farmer said. They would rather die than give sour milk. Everyone laughed again. Brady, however, took this very seriously. There was a time for joking around and a time for seriousness. He wanted to know more about the reason why the cows were vanishing, because they provided them a means to live.
What about the fences? He asked after a while.
Oh, I guess we can check the fences, the farmers said. Let's go.
Well, that was easy. Finally, something was about to get done. The farmers split up into pairs and went their ways to the different fences around the fields. What they discovered there was at the root of their problems.
Look, Brady said, this fence is broken, and that one as well. The cows simply took their chances and left when they saw there was an opening. Before we find them, someone needs to repair these fences to make sure they don't escape no more.
We'll tell the others,
his friend Bobby said. They walked around a little longer to double-check and find out if there were any other issues contributing to the disappearance of the cows, but they didn't see anything else. The men all gathered in the farm again. At first, nobody was listening to each another. They were all talking at the same time, but Brady's time was limited. He wanted to cut to the chase and get the problem solved.
"Excuse me, he said.
Nobody listened.
"Excuse me!"
he yelled the second time. Now everyone was listening.
"Thank you for your attention," Brady said. "I want to address the problem and then brainstorm about different solutions. Anyone?" "The fences are broken," someone said. "Yes, they are. I noticed that too. Why do you think so many of them broke at the same time?" "It's your cheap material," a farmer said accusingly, pointing to Sid. "That's ridiculous," Sid said. "That wood is durable and sturdy. If there's anything wrong with it, then you must have not treated it well enough." "How dare you?" the farmer asked, almost ready to start a fist fight.
"Calm yourself, man," Brady said. "Does anyone have any idea how this happened?"
"I saw teeth marks in there," one of the farmers said. "Teeth marks from rats or mice."
"Really?" Brady said in amazement. "Wow, we have to do something about that, man."
"We can set traps," one of them suggested.
"Good idea. Will we have enough, though?"
It became silent. No one came with a better idea. Traps could help kill some rats and mice, but not all of them. It was a dilemma. If those rodents were chewing through the fences, then the fences would be broken again in no time. It would only be a matter of time before the cows would be on the loose again.
"I guess we'll still have to think about that," Brady said. "What about bringing the cows back?"
"Oh, they could be all over the place," Bobby said. "Those barn animals don't have no direction. They don't even stay together for a long time. We're going to have to get them one by one."
"That could take weeks," Brady said. "I'm sure you all don't have the time to do that. Isn't there a better way?"
"Well, I heard of this boy," Bobby said. "He plays a flute."
"And I play cards," Brady said. "What's your point?"
"Well, people say he has magical powers. His flute has some kind of weird ring to it. Animals follow him wherever he goes. He lives in a cottage in the mountains to the west. That's all I've heard. I've never seen the boy."
"So we don't even know if he exists? And what path do we take there?"
"Like I said, I don't know nothing besides that. I just heard of him."
"Magical powers, huh?" Brady says. "So perhaps this boy can bring back the cattle by playing on his flute. If they all flock to him, then all we have to do is lead them back into the fields. How far is it to the mountains?"
"Probably a 2-day walk,"
Sid said. Brady thought for a moment. All the farmers were quiet. The only sound that could be heard was a chicken being chased by a cat. But these men had already learned to filter those kinds of everyday sounds out. "Who wants to go?" Brady suddenly asked. Nobody volunteered.
"It's dangerous out there," someone mumbled.
"I'm not going," another one said.
"Too busy,"
Sid whispered. Brady got a little frustrated. "Fine," he said. "I'll go. I will show you that I'm not afraid of nothing, bunch of cowards." The others smiled and felt relieved. They wished him luck and encouraged him to take his dog Toby with him to help him on his journey. And that was the beginning of a 2-day adventure. Chapter 3. The Threat. Brady left the next morning. His wife had prepared a knapsack with some food in it and gave her husband a kiss before he left. Toby was excited. He knew there were new places to explore and to leave his mark at. He always liked going out into the wild. Brady and Toby started walking uphill into the direction of the said cottage where the boy was supposed to live. The weather was nice, the environment was serene, and Brady didn't see any cows on the way there. "They must have all gone to the other side of the village," Brady assumed. "Oh well, I wouldn't be able to bring them back anyway, even if I saw one." Although there was some uncertainty whether or not the boy was even up there, Brady wanted to take the risk. He knew that if the stories were true, this boy would be their salvation. It was the only way he could think of gathering all the cows. The climb became steeper. The path became rougher. It wasn't as clearly visible as it was at the beginning. Rocks were covering both the path and the areas next to it. Brady had a hard time distinguishing between a general patch of nature and the man-made shapes of an actual route. But he kept going, hoping that he was still going the right way. This went on for almost 2 days. Brady occasionally took a break and paused to eat something and feed his dog a snack. He slept for a few hours every night, sticking close to his hairy animal friend for safety, and eventually reached a part of the mountain that seemed to end. "If it isn't here," he thought out loud, "then I don't know if it's even there at all. I haven't seen nothing. No cottage, no boy. Let's go back, Toby." But before he could turn around, Brady heard a growl. "Uh-oh," he said. "That didn't sound good." Another growl was heard. This time, Toby growled back, despite it being less vicious or impressive. "What was that, Toby?" Brady asked. Toby was still growling. After some time, Brady saw it. Out of the bushes appeared a big brown bear. The bear stood up straight but was getting ready to pounce him. Brady closed his eyes. He held his breath. He knew there was no escape. Hopefully, Toby would come in between him and the bear, but if he didn't, Brady would be toast. Dead by a bear. Gone. However, fate had something else in mind for him. He suddenly heard a tune, a very high pitch. Someone was playing a melody on the flute. He opened his eyes and looked at the bear. The animal was mesmerized. Toby was listening too, but wasn't as far gone in his own world as the bear. Brady stood there in awe as he watched the bear vanish, going back into the bushes from which it came. "Wow, what was that all about?" Brady asked when the music was gone. "I should ask you the same thing," he heard someone say behind him. Brady turned around and saw a boy come out of the forest. He looked like a wild boy, with his green outfit, his hat, and his nonchalant posture. Chapter 4. The Help. "What are you doing here?" the boy asked. "I think I was looking for you," Brady answered. "We need help at the village." "What kind of help?" the boy asked. "By the way, my name is Durian." "Brady, good to meet you." "Go ahead," the boy said. "I'm listening." "Well, it's like this. The cows in the village have disappeared. We think that rats have nibbled on the fences and created holes, and now we lost our main source of income. I can't milk my cows no more because I don't have no cows left no more." "That's a lot of negatives in one sentence, Brady. What are you suggesting?" "If you know of any means to bring the cows back," Brady began, "then I would be eternally grateful." Durian smirked. Gratitude is okay, he said, but a payment is even better. We don't have much, Brady said. I only have a few coins at home. We mostly live on what we produce. I didn't say money, Durian said. What good would money be to me anyway? I live by myself in the mountains. We can look at what you have and then see what you can afford to pay me, Brady. How about that? That sounds generous, Durian. Again, we would be grateful for your help. Yeah, just give me some fresh milk and a dozen eggs or something. And if you happen to have it, I could go for some fresh meat and seasonings as well. Saves me a day of hunting. Naturally, I could give you all that and more, Durian. So will you do it? Sure, why not? Let's go. What? You mean to say that you don't need anything from the cottage? Don't you need to gather your things? Nope, I already have my flute. I'm set. Wow, I thought I was simplistic about life, but you... It makes sense, but why worry? So many people worry too much. I am a free spirit. I do whatever I want and I take care of myself. That's about it. What else do I need? I guess you're right. What about women? Huh? What about them? Durian wanted to know. Don't you want to get married and settle down sometime? How old are you anyway? Oh, ha ha, Durian said laughingly. Yeah, maybe sometime. I don't know how old I am. I forgot. But we'll see. For now I am content with life, so who cares, right? Brady was a little surprised by this boy's uncaring attitude. He had probably been living in the bush for too long. But Brady didn't care how weird this young man was, as long as he could deliver him the cows they had been looking for. Where did you get that flute, anyway? Brady asked. It's just a magical flute, Durian said. Yes, but that's not something you see every day. I do. I see it every day. Touché, Brady said. I didn't think of it that way. I was living in the woods all that time, Durian began. I have no idea where my parents are, but what I do know is that the trees spoke to me. Brady raised one eyebrow. He figured that anyone living in the forest for that long must have become a tree hugger, and that this boy was no exception. He smiled a little, but hid his smile quickly so the boy wouldn't think he was mocking him. Well, Durian continued, when they began to speak to me, I echoed their sounds and studied the howling of the wind. Then, when I carved this stick out of a dead branch, I inserted holes and it began to make music when I blew in it. And before I knew it, I had tested out all the different sounds that appeal to animals. Sheep, for example, respond to a much lower pitch than bears. And dogs require such high tones that sometimes I have a hard time mustering the strength to get the sounds out of my flute. But luckily, I don't deal with hostile dogs a lot. Yours looks pretty tame. Interesting, Brady admitted. So you just play tunes on the flute all day? I eat too. I use the flute to attract a certain kind of animal and then I kill it. Roasted skunk isn't that good, by the way. Brady laughed. This kid was full of surprises. The two of them talked and talked, making the way back a lot more pleasant than the long uphill struggle Brady had faced earlier. When they came to the village, everybody stared at Durian. No one had ever seen him before, so he was the main focus of attention. But he didn't care. Chapter 5. Music to Their Ears.
Who is that, Brady?
Sid asked.
This is Durian, Brady said. He is going to help us, right, Durian?
Exactly, Durian said. For the right compensation, of course.
Huh? What is he talking about?
Sid asked.
Sid, gather the other farmers in the barn tonight. Tell them I'm back and that I found the boy we were looking for.
You got it,
Sid said. For the rest of the day, Brady and Durian just kind of hung out. Brady showed Durian what he did on the farm, the gaps in the fences, and the other animals he tried to control. He introduced the boy to his wife and fed him dinner. Evening fell, and the men had done precisely what Brady asked them to. The women were all having some sewing party in one of the farmers' homes. The men had gathered in the same barn again, and were happy to see that Brady was back, unharmed and with a new friend.
Men, Brady said, this boy has come to save us. He can control animals with his flute.
Prove it,
one of the farmers shouted. I have seen it with my own eyes, Brady confirmed. I was about to be eaten by a bear, and when he played the flute, the bear left.
That's nice for you, Bobby said, but how do we know it's true?
Durian, care to give us a demonstration? Brady asked.
Sure, Durian said. Get some chickens, and I will show you what I can do.
Some of the farmers got about 20 chickens into the barn and let them go in front of Durian. The boy blew on his flute a few times, testing the correct tone, and then began to play a cheerful song. At first, nothing happened. The farmers stood there with skeptical looks on their faces, folding their arms and waiting for a miracle. But suddenly, the chickens lined up like a soldier's platoon. They began to march into one direction, stopped, turned around, and marched into the opposite direction, following the melodic, swingy twists to the music. The farmers couldn't believe their eyes. They had never seen anything like it. The chickens marched back and forth, and when Durian made certain moves and gestures with his arms and danced around a little, some of the chickens stood still in a formation that looked like a triangle. Other chickens spun around in circles, exactly following the rhythm of Durian's song. When the demonstration was over, everybody clapped.
Very impressive, the farmers said.
One of them came to Durian and said,
I'll give you anything you need, boy, as long as you get those cows back.
Thank you, Durian said as he bowed to the crowd. Brady came and put his arm around Durian.
This young man will help us. Do you believe me now, folks?
They all nodded. They had suddenly gained a lot more respect for the boy with the magical flute. And from his little show, it appeared as if he was the only one who could use that instrument. The farmers were willing to donate whatever they could to support him in his endeavors. Chapter 6. Gathering the Cattle. The next day there was no time to lose. Who knew how far those cows had gone? Durian insisted on the farmer's help, who agreed to assist him in finding their whereabouts.
Gathering them is one thing, Durian said. Finding them in the first place is another. I can play the flute all I want, but if I am not close enough, they won't even hear me. By the way, cows are really stupid. You can't expect them to take initiative unless you spell everything out for them.
We know, Brady said. We've worked with them all our lives, remember?
Right, let's get going.
30 farmers entered the forest, looking for their vanished cattle. The forest was peaceful and the weather was lovely. The sun shone through the trees, lighting the way for the villagers and aiding them in their search. They walked and walked, and eventually they came to the cliffs.
I hope they didn't go down here, Brady said.
Probably not, Sid commented. Do you see any cows down there? I sure don't, so they're probably somewhere else.
There, one of the men shouted.
They're over there.
All the other farmers looked to the right where Sid was pointing. There they were, 100 cows gathered together on the edge of a cliff. They were eating grass, filling their stomachs, and having a good time. Some of the farmers looked at Bobby.
Didn't you say they don't stay together for a long time? They asked with an angry look. Oh, well, the thing about that is, he said sheepishly.
Admit it, Bobby, Brady said. You don't know nothing about them cows.
Bobby sighed and let his shoulders hang.
I told you I don't have no cows, he said, but I just thought I could be part of the group if I tried to show you how much I knew.
It's okay, Bobby. They're dumb animals anyway, Brady said.
Then he turned to Durian and said,
There you go, boy. They're all over there. Do you think you can bring them back to our farms?
Can I? Durian said with full confidence. Just sit back and watch me go to work.
He took the flute out of his outfit and began to play. The melody was slow and low. The farmers wondered if that was the case because the cows were slow of understanding. One of the dumb cattle was walking towards the edge. It almost fell off the cliffs until it heard Durian play his tune. The cow stopped and looked. All the cows were now looking at Durian, who danced a little but still tried to catch their complete attention. What he didn't realize, though, was that some other cows were scattered across the woods and were slowly moving into his direction now. Durian looked behind him and saw the magnitude of his undertaking. Hundreds of cows were surrounding him, staring at his flute and blinded by the hypnotism of the music. Amazing, some of the farmers admitted. They watched in awe as Durian led the cows back to the farm. They were lined up behind him as if they were being held on a leash. One by one, he guided them towards one of the fields, the one that already had a fixed fence. The farmers followed the big parade too, and waited until Durian had all the cows gathered on the field.
"Was that all of them?" Brady asked Sid.
"Yes, let's close the gate," he whispered back.
Durian was still playing. The gate got shut, and the farmers watched their herds stand still in one spot, still staring at the musical boy. When the song was over, Durian stuck out his tongue at the cows and ran towards the fence. None of them followed. They just followed him with their eyes. Durian jumped over the fence and joined the farmers.
"Well done, boy," they said. "You solved our problem. We'll take it from here. We can sort out which cows belong to whom." "Hold on a minute," Brady said. "Before we give this young man the reward he deserves, I have one more thing to ask of him."
"Oh yeah? And what's that?" Durian asked.
Chapter 7. Back.
"We still have a rodent problem," Brady said. "Do you think you can do something about that as well?"
"I can try," Durian said. "It has been a long time since I played for mice and rats. I don't know if it's still in my head. Besides, when I gather them all here, what do you want to do with them? Eat them? I don't know how roasted rat sounds to you, but you better check for diseases. I've heard they carry nasty diseases."
"We just want to kill them, not eat them," Brady said. "What do you think, gentlemen?"
"Well, we can always set them on fire,"
Bobby suggested. The others looked at him with a weird face.
"What?" he said. "I just happen to be a pyromaniac, okay?"
"Any other ideas?" Brady asked, ignoring Bobby completely on purpose.
"We can lock them up," one of the farmers said.
"With what? They're rodents. They will find a way out. It's too risky."
Brady wasn't impressed with the ideas these farmers came up with. But then, he suddenly had an idea himself.
"What about the cliffs?" he asked.
"What about them?"
"Our cows almost fell off the cliffs. Maybe we can let the mice and rats fall off the cliffs instead. Then they'll be dead and gone forever."
"Ay, ay, ay," Durian said. "I don't know if I can do that. Like I said, it has been a while with rodents."
"I believe in you, Durian. What you displayed here was so great, I can't even find the words to express my amazement. Please, give it a try."
"Okay," Durian said. "I will make an attempt."
Then he started to talk to himself.
"Let's see, if I go up a little bit at the end and dance around the whole group, and then I'll finish the song with a higher pitch, and then—"
As he was planning it out in his mind, some of the farmers were already dividing the cows in the field. A few minutes later, Durian stopped mumbling and jumped up.
"Got it,"
he said, and he began to play. He played fast and wildly. The tones were upbeat, and the song was something that would confuse a hornet. It was beautiful. Quick, fast notes were coming out of the boy's flute. The women in the village came to listen too, almost mesmerized by the sounds thereof.
Brady said, tapping Durian on the shoulder. "I hope you're not planning on guiding the women to the cliffs as well. We would like to keep our women."
Durian stopped and looked at him in a rebuking way.
"Let me be," he said. "This is typical. Women are susceptible to this song too, but the second part applies particularly to rats and mice." "Makes you wonder if women and mice have something in common," Bobby said jokingly.
Brady banged him on the head.
"Ouch, what was that for?" Bobby asked.
"You're being sexist and discriminative. When this is over, you better apologize to your wife."
Durian continued to play. After a while, hundreds of rats and mice crawled over the ground towards Durian and lined up properly. As soon as some of the women saw the rats, they screamed and ran away. Not all of them were afraid of them, but some of the women had gotten into that habit and left the premises. Durian gave Brady a look as if to say, "See, I told you they wouldn't stick around. Then he pursued. It was a little disgusting and cute at the same time to see the hundreds of rodents line up in front of the boy with the flute, and again the men watched in awe once it happened. Durian began dancing around and playing the flute at the same time, moving towards the canyon. The hundreds of mice and rats followed him through the forest. Durian stopped in front of the cliff and made a little dance around all the rodents. They followed him with their eyes and turned around, but they stayed close to the cliff. In the distance, the farmers were watching, along with some of the women who weren't afraid of rats or mice. Then Durian played a part of the song so beautiful and complicated that no person could ever describe it. It was the sound of heaven, the music of the muses, the perfect amplitude, the melody of the gods. Supernatural tunes of order and splendor penetrated the ears of all present to witness this wonder. If there was ever a song in history described as being perfect, it would be garbage compared to what this young man performed at this moment. The rodents in front of him turned around and ran. They ran towards the cliff with all their strength and let themselves fall into the canyon, happy that they were privileged to hear such a fine masterpiece before the end of their lives. When it was over, all the mice and rats were gone. The farmers and their wives had their mouths wide open. They couldn't believe their ears. Some of the women had tears in their eyes, and every one of the men was speechless. Durian turned around and bowed. "Thank you," he said with a smile. The farmers snapped out of it and began to clap. The women came to Durian and embraced him. And thus ends the story of Durian, the miracle boy who gathered the cows and eliminated the village's pests. They let him stay for as long as he wanted, but after a few days, he retired to the mountains, with some things to eat that he received from the farmers. The boy was never seen after that, but even now, when you visit the valley, you can sometimes hear the happy tunes from the magnificent flute of that young boy playing in the mountaintops. And if you ask what that is, any of the farmers will be happy to tell you all about it, especially Brady. The end.